All right, all praises to the Most High, man. We together for another Shabbat. We done got through a hectic week. I could say that everybody been going through it this week in their own way, in their own fashion. We all been tried, tested, tempted. You know what I'm saying? Fighting these wicked spirits, these wicked thoughts and imaginations. Sometimes we get hit, sometimes we fall, but we got to get back up. We got to continue to strive until death, man, so we can receive that crown of life. You know what I'm saying? I pray brothers, have a prosperous week next week. Next week on the 2nd at sundown, it'll be the new moon 6th month. So we got to prepare for that, prepare our households for the up and coming high holy day, which is the new moon 6th month. That's September 2nd at even. And then a month from that is the Feast of Trumpets. And then we're coming into the Feast of Tabernacles, the Day of Atonement. We getting prepared for those things, and we're going to discuss those things, amongst ourselves after service, and come up with a solution where we're going to feast that for New Moon, Tabernacles, Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Trumpets. But today's topic, man, we're going to go into why we reiterate the scriptures to our people all the time. We sound like a broken record to our people, especially those in our household, especially those of our nation, and especially to the heathen nations. We sound like a broken record. We keep saying the same things over and over and over and over again, right? And the reason we do that, the reason we reiterate the same topics or the same subject matters is because that's what our Father do, right? That's what our Father do. He does it constantly. He's always reiterating things in the scriptures over and over. You could read a passage in Genesis, and you will find that same passage all throughout the Bible. You'll find the same precept all throughout the scriptures. He's saying the same thing over and over, all the way from Genesis to Revelations. Why? Because Israel just don't get it sometimes, man. We just don't understand what's going on. We forgetful, right? So why do we reiterate the scriptures? Forgetfulness, right? The Israelites, like all people, were prone to forget the teachings and commandments that was given to them, especially in the times of difficulty or temptation. Repetition served as a reminder of the Most High's laws and promises. So that's why we reiterate scriptures, because we forget, right? We forget everything. We forget the laws. We forget to keep the faith. We forget our identity. We forget who we are. We forget where we come from. We forget our heritage. We forget our culture. We forget morals, right? We forget civil respect, mutual respect amongst our nation. We forget that type of stuff, man. One reason we forget is because of crafty counsel. They set up devices and they set up snares and traps for us to forget who we are. They spend a lot of money to keep us distracted, right? So let's start off by going to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 9. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 9. When everybody got it, say time.
God.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
Right? Read that again. Read that from the top. Read that verse 9 again.
Only take heed to thyself.
Only take heed to thyself. So like it, only take heed to thyself. That means focus on your walk, right? Focus on your salvation, right? You're not going to be able to save those around you yourself, right? So take that stress off, take that burden off your shoulder, by only taking heed to thyself. Read that again.
Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
Right. So only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, right? Because your soul, you maintaining your soul, that's your salvation, right? It says, least thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen, right? You don't want to forget the things that we've witnessed by the Most High. You don't want to forget the miracles that he showed us, the signs and great wonders, the great and terrible things that he done showed us. You don't want to forget that, right? And Esau spent a lot of money to distract you from that. So it's a possibility that you can forget it, but he's telling you not to forget it. The only way to not forget it is to meditate on the scriptures day and night. That's the only way. You go days without reading your scriptures, hey, you're gonna start to forget. You know what I'm saying? You go weeks without reading passages and precepts and putting lessons together, hey, you gonna forget, right? He said that least thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen, and least they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. Now, when these things, when these passages and the miracles that the Most High done showed you began to depart from your heart, you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? You are in trouble. You in trouble with the Most High when you start to be forgetful of his commandments and his judgments, right? He says, but teach them to thy sons, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. Teach them to your children and your grandchildren. Pass down this generational wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so you don't forget. You should get into a habit of teaching your household on a daily basis, man. You got to teach them on a daily basis, daily. When you wake up in the morning, when you're going about the way, before they go to sleep at night, you got to be teaching them the ways of the Most High, their heritage, their traditions, their culture, right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 10. The book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 10. When everybody got it, say Khan.
God. God. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 10. They kept not the covenant of God and refused to walk in his law,
Read.
and forgot his works and his wonders that he has showed them.
Right. So forgetfulness, right? Forgetful. We are a forgetful people. Israel is a forgetful people. That's why he told us to border our garments and put fringes with a ribbon of blue. Because we are forgetful. We are forgetful people, man. We what it says, it say the children, so like they kept not the covenant of the Most High and refused to walk in his law. Because we forgot his works and his wonders that he has showed them. They stopped applying knowledge, they stopped applying wisdom, they stopped applying understanding. They saw the heathen nations round about them, and they like, we want to be like them. They forgot about their power. They forgot about their covenant, right? That's why the Most High have to constantly reiterate things to us, just like a father reiterate things to the children. Like the brother Ari said last night, we gotta tell the children the same things over and over and over again, and we can't get tired of doing it either, because we got to. They Israel. You know what I'm saying? They Israel. We got to continue to reiterate, even if we feel they understand what they doing. They in somewhere inside their brain, they done forgot. All right. So we got to constantly remind them of who they are and how we got to turn back to the laws of the Most High, how we got to respect our elders, right? How we got to love our neighbor as ourselves and not have an evil eye towards our people, right? Or to clean up this damn room, man, or to do them dishes. You know what I'm saying? Clean your room. Make sure you clean your room before you leave for school. Make sure the room clean. Make sure the bed is made. You got to say it over and over again because it's going to be days where they just walk out the house and not do nothing. So we got to reiterate to our people because we are forgetful people, right? Another reason the Most High reiterate things to us is because our people are stubborn and disobedient, right? You got to reiterate something to somebody that's stubborn and disobedient, right? So the Israelites frequently disobeyed the Most High or strayed from his commandments, which required the Most High to remind them of his will and the consequence of their actions. Their stubbornness often led them to repeat the same mistakes, right? So we repeat the same mistakes oftentimes is because we stubborn as hell, right? We just stubborn. We don't want to listen. We don't want to take heed. We don't want to apply the knowledge because of the person that's telling us or because we just stuck in our own ways. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 32 and verse 9. Exodus chapter 32 and the 9th verse.
God.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 32, verse 9. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people.
Yeah, the Most High say, hey, he told Moses, he said, I seen these people. I've been watching them, right? I've been observing their heart, their soul, their minds, their actions, their deeds. I seen these people. And they stiff-necked, man. They hard-headed. They don't listen. They wicked, right? He explaining to Moses because at this point, the Most High ready to destroy us for worshiping a golden calf. Right after he just gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. Right after he just delivered us out of the hands of our enemies with a mighty hand. Right after we seen him kill all the firstborn of the Egyptians, we turn right around and go worship a golden calf and say this calf delivered us out of Egypt. Hard-headed, stiff-necked, stubborn, right? And the Most High was ready to kill Israel. Let's go to the book of Judges, chapter 2 and verse 17. And this ain't the only time he mentioned this, man. He mentioned us being hard-headed and stiff-necked all throughout the scriptures. He had to reiterate that all throughout the scriptures. Our people hard-headed all the way into the book of Revelations, man. Stiff-necked all the way to the book of Revelations. That's centuries, right? That's millennials. You know what I'm saying? We've been at it for ages, man, for ages. Right? Judges 2 and 17. When everybody got it, say con.
God.
Yeah. This is the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 17. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a whoring after other gods and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so.
Right. So just like today's time, the Most High done raised up his judges again, right? We are the judges, right? We are the prophets. We are the seers. We are the servants of the Most High. We judging his people in righteousness. We're making righteous judgment, right? We're not judging according to appearance like the brother was on last night, right? We judging righteous judgment. We making righteous judgment. You know what I'm saying? But they not hearkening to the judges, man. They not hearkening to us, right? We show them where they err in the scriptures. Oh, you're a homosexual? The Most High said, hey, that a man shouldn't lay with man like you lay with woman. You going off. We're not judging you. We just showing you the law. Or we're judging you according to the law. I ain't gonna say we're not judging you, but we judging you based on what the law says. You're in violation of the law. You're making a righteous judgment, right? But they're not hearkening to their judges, but they went whoring after other gods, after other doctrines, after other powers, after other nations of people, right? And bowed themselves unto them. And when you bow yourself to another God, you're not necessarily getting on your knees, bowing down. It's your deeds, your actions. You have submitted to the ways of this power, right? You have submitted. A woman, she's not submitting to her husband, but she's submitting to the ways of Babylon, though. She's submitting to the beast, right? That means she's bowing down to this beast system because she's submitted. She's willing to do whatever the beast asks, right? Our people willing to do whatever Esau tell them to do over what the Most High requires of us, right? So they bowed themselves unto them and turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, right? So this in Judges, the Most High hid his face from the children of Israel. Why? Because the families wasn't teaching the children, right? The families started being forgetful. The parents, the fathers started being forgetful of the commandments. So they not teaching their children the commandments. And their children not teaching their children the commandments. Your grandchildren not learning the commandments. So then there become generations that start to forget the Most High. He start hiding his face from us, right? They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so. Right? So that comes with being rebellious, stubborn, stiff-necked, and hard-headed. When you start forsaking the law, statutes, and commandments to do your own thing. I'm not going to teach my son how to love his neighbor as himself. I want this nigga to dribble this basketball until he make it to the NBA. That's where all my focus is at, right? I don't want my son to be a righteous husband. I'm going to teach him how to pimp on these women so he could get money off these women. Right? That's what's starting to happen, right? And just like I was watching some elders this morning, they were saying like, hey man, you may be the first person in your family to wake up to this truth, to know you're an Israelite. You're the first generation to come back into the knowledge of the Most High. So it's on you to teach your children, to raise them up in the fear of the Lord, man. It's on you. Right? Your parents didn't raise you to fear the Most High, but the Most High put it in your spirit to turn back to his laws and the faith in Christ. And now you got to teach that to your children on a daily basis so they could have a better chance out here than what we had. We was walking in pitch black with a blindfold on our eyes, man, out here in these streets, in the valley of the shadow of death, man. We don't want them to be like that. We want them to at least have a fighting chance, right? But that comes with, you know, yielding and submitting to the will of the Most High, to what the Most High will is. Right? Right? Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 7 and verse 51.
Come on, okay.
Hey, the brother say, what you talk about, Willis? Acts chapter 7 and verse 51, when everybody got to say, Khan.
What you talking about, Willis?
What book again?
Acts chapter 7, verse 51.
Khan, thank you. Khan.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 51. Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, as your father did, so do ye.
Right. So this is Stephen, right? This is Stephen. He's snapping on Jake. He's snapping on Israel because Israel is still being wicked. And this is thousands of years after Moses delivered us out of the land of Egypt. Right? This is thousands of years after the Most High said, "Hey, I've seen these people. This is stiff-necked people." This millennials later, and Stephen is still saying the same thing, man. Right? This is why the Most High reiterates passages to us, because we just don't get it. We forgetful. Right? Read that verse again. 51.
Verse 51, ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, as your fathers did, so do ye.
Right. You stiff-necked, meaning you hard-headed, and you uncircumcised in heart and in ears. Right? You could be physically circumcised, right? Meaning when you was a child, you got circumcised. You cut off the foreskin of your flesh on your private area, right? But that don't mean that you're circumcised in heart just because you was physically circumcised, right? The Most High, even in the law, he tell us to cut off the foreskin of our heart, our fleshly desires, our fleshly lusts, right? He tell us to clean ourselves, to purify ourselves on the inside. That's how you become circumcised in heart, meaning you keeping the law, statutes, and commandments psychologically first, within yourself first, and your deeds gonna follow, right? But our people, they kept the law externally, carnally, right? Um, they more concerned about, okay, I could.
Uh-oh.
You breaking out. You breaking out, King. Hold on. Slocky, King. You can't hear you. Can y'all hear him? No, start breaking out. There you go. Hold on.
Yeah, there you go. Now we can hear you.
Okay, all praises.
Keep talking, King.
What was the last thing? Hold on.
Yeah, it's
The lock here.
chopped and screwed.
Chopped and screwed.
Chopped and screwed remix.
All right. Y'all can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all praises.
It's when you talking down, and when you talking towards the camera, it's like when you looking down, it's like it's not catching it.
Started.
Yeah, it's distorted. Yeah.
All right. What was the last?
At 7:51.
Acts
That's
7:51. Yeah.
okay. The uncircumcised in the heart.
Yep.
So to be circumcised in your heart is to put away fleshly desires, mortal thoughts. That's how you become circumcised in the heart. But our people are stiff-necked and uncircumcised, meaning they still have mortal thoughts, mortal desires, fleshly desires. Right? Our people was keeping the commandments on a carnal level instead on a spiritual level as well. Right? Because they felt as if, okay, I transgressed the laws of God. All I got to do now is go take 2 turtle doves to the priest. Right? And now I'm straight. Without the understanding of not doing it no more, they gonna do it again. Because all they gotta do now is take another turtle dove to the priest. Right? So they was just keeping the commandments on an external level, on a carnal level. They weren't keeping it internally. Right? So he said, you stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, Ye always resist the Holy Spirit, as your fathers did, so do ye. Right? Just like our forefathers went to worship in a calf right after the Most High gave us the law, statutes, and commandments, so do our people continue to worship that golden calf through the Spirit. Right? Verse 52.
Verse 52. Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? And they have slain them which it showed before of the Salakia. And they have slain them which showed before of the coming of the just one, of whom ye have been now the betrayers and murderers.
Right. Our people kill the prophets. Our people murder the prophets. You try to correct our people, they ready to gun you down in the streets, man. Just for telling them something right and true, and that could save their life. They're ready to kill you. Read.
Who have received the law by the disposition of angels and have not kept it.
Right. So our people receive the law by the disposition of angels, right? And they don't keep the law. These ain't just regular, we not just regular messengers, right? We just not regular judges of this society. We come from the third heaven. We come from the spiritual realm. We were sent down here to do a job, right? Yeah, we look like men. We're going to die like men, but ye are gods. You know what I'm saying? Ye are messengers. You are power to be reckoned with. And we giving our people the law, statutes, and commandments, and they're not keeping them. They like to hell with the Most High's high holy days. I'm going to keep these pagan traditions. To hell with not eating. I'm finna eat these fried pork chops because I love pork chops. Right? To hell with not defiling my temple. I gotta vape. I gotta smoke. I gotta sniff coke. I gotta feed my fleshly desires. Right? They not keeping the commandments that was given to them by the disposition of angels, man. Right? Verse 54, read.
When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth.
Right, and they gnashed on them with their teeth. They was cut to the heart. When Stephen told them about themselves, man, you hard-headed, you don't listen, you wicked, right? You killing the prophets just like your dad, like your forefathers did, man. You persecuting the prophets and murdering them and betraying them just like your forefathers did. And they heard them things, hey, they was cut to the heart. They was cut to the soul, man. And so much they began to beat this man up, right? They began to pull their weapons out and start hitting them with it. Right? Read.
Salakia, verse 55. But he, being full of the Holy Ghost, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of Yahweh, and Yahweh Shah standing on the right hand of Yahweh.
Right, so he delivering the message, and he saw the glory of the Most High, and Yahweh Shah standing on the right hand when he looked up while these people are attacking him, while his own brothers, his own sisters, raging out against him for telling them the truth. Why? Because they stiff-necked and hard-headed, and we've been that way since the beginning, since we was in the garden. Read, verse 56.
And said, behold, I see the heavens open, and the Son of Man, Salakia, and behold, I see the heavens open, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of Yahweh.
Read.
Then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord.
Right, so when he telling them he see the Most High and Yahweh Shai in the heavens, right? Yahweh Shai standing on the right hand of the Most High, they rebelled even more, right? they cried out with a loud voice. They like, F you, nigga. Nigga, what you talking about? Right? They going against what he's saying. They stopped their ears from hearing what he was saying. Because our people are stiff-necked and they rebellious, they hard-headed, right? And that's why the Most High continue to reiterate this stuff to us. And they ran up on him with one accord. Everybody that ran up on him had intentions on hurting him and shutting him up. His own people, enemies of his own house, man, ran up on him. Enemies of his own nation ran up on him because they don't want to hear about the glory of the Most High and Yahweh standing on his right-hand side. They don't want to hear about that. They so caught up in this worldly aspect of life, man. They more worried about the little baby concert. They more worried about little baby getting arrested out here in Vegas. Right? They more worried about wickedness and folly than to hear the truth. Right? So they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran up on him with one accord. Verse 58, read.
Verse 58. And cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their cloth at a young man's feet, whose name was Saul.
Right. So
and
this is when Stephen was stoned after he told them the truth. Now, if you read Acts chapter 7, Stephen break down from Genesis all the way to where the time he was at now. He break it down how the Most High delivered us, how the people rebelled, right? He break down how the Most High delivered us several times on several different occasions, and how people just continuously rebel against the Most High, even after he delivered us. And it got so bad that they stoned this man. They stoned him, right? And once they stoned him, witnesses laid down their clothes at a young man's feet, whose name was Saul, right? Because Saul, before he became Paul, he was Saul, and he was persecuting the prophets. He was known for destroying and murdering and locking up the prophets, right? So they laid down Stephen's clothing at Saul's feet, like, yeah, the job is done. Verse 59.
And they stoned Stephen, calling upon Yahweh and saying, Yahweh Shai, receive my spirit.
So Stephen knew he was about to die. He knew he was about to give up the ghost, and he suffered for doing well, right? He suffered for doing the Most High's will, right? Everybody don't die in their iniquity. Some people die in righteousness, and that's what happened. He suffered for doing well. He didn't suffer for doing evil. He suffered for doing what was right. And he called upon the Most High, saying, Lord Hamashiach, Yahweh shall receive my spirit. Verse 60.
And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep.
Right, so he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, saying, Most High, forgive them for their sins. Don't charge them with murdering me. Forgive them for their transgressions. In the midst of him dying, right? And when he had said this, he fell asleep. He passed away, right? It was over with. But that just goes to show you that our people are hard-headed, stubborn, stiff-necked. And even in the day of Stephen, they were still on that same wave. 2,000 years later, in today's time now, our people still on that same wave of being stiff-necked, right? And the Most High used these accounts and these records to remind us of how wicked and rebellious and hard-headed our people can be, even in today's time, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 10 and verse 12. We got to stop being stiff-necked. That's the number one thing. We got to stop being stubborn. We got to stop closing our ears to right information, to the truth. We got to stop closing our ears to the truth, man. It's a commandment. It's a commandment to forsake wickedness and to submit yourself to the will of the Most High, to fear the Most High. These are commandments that we got to keep, man. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. When everybody got it, say con.
Con.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 12. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep
Right.
the
So
commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
Salakia, King. It says, and now Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee? This is what the Most High require of us, to fear him. That's a requirement. You got to fear him. You got to have some type of fear to go against his will, to go against his commandments, right? What's another requirement? To walk in all his ways. Walk in all the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best that you can, man. Right? Internally. Right? Also externally. Right? You gotta walk in it in spirit and in truth, in the heart and mind first. And then you gotta also walk in it in your actions and your deeds as well. Right? And to serve him with all thy heart and with all thy soul, with all thy mind and all thy soul, all thy spirit. You got to serve the Most High, man. And everything that you do is for him. He gets the glory. Right? Read verse 13 again, King.
Verse 13. To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
Read.
Behold, the heavens and the heavens of heavens is the Lord's thy God. The earth also with all that therein is. Only
Read.
the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day.
Right. And that's what our people got to realize, man. The Most High delighted in our fathers and loved our forefathers. Right. And he chose the children of Israel that came out of Jacob. He chose the seed of Jacob to love, right? Above all people, even as it is unto this day, man. Even today, in today's time, the Most High love us above all nations on the planet, right? We are the chosen seed. We are the chosen nation that he delight in, right? And our people got to understand that. And when we try to teach them and show them with the word, we try to show them the word, we try to reason with them out of the scriptures, right? They get offended, they get angry, they get upset, they close their ears, they get stiff-necked, they rebel against the light. Verse 16, read.
Verse 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskins of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked.
Right, circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart. This in the law. Circumcision is in Genesis, right? The physical circumcision, and even the law, which is spiritual, is right here. Deuteronomy 10 and 16. Circumcise the foreskin of your heart. Right? It ain't just about a physical circumcision, man. It's a spiritual circumcision as well. You got to put away the mortal thoughts, the fleshly desires, right? And be no more stiff-necked. Be no more hard-headed and rebellious. Submit yourself to the will of the Father. Bow down your ear to this word and be humble, right? Pride is the reason for a lot of stubbornness and stiff-neck and disobedience. It's pride. Pride is the beginning of sin. Pride is the beginning of transgressing the laws of the Most High. because you feel like you above the laws of God, right? So another reason we don't went into two reasons so far why the Most High reiterate things to us, and that's the reason we reiterate the things to our people as well, right? One was forgetfulness. We forget. We are forgetful people. And the other one is stubborn and disobedient, being rebellious and having a stiff neck against the word. Another reason he reiterates scriptures to us is for the culture. It's for the cultural environment that we live in, right? So the Israelites lived among pagan nations
No,
with
I'm going back
different.
to read. I was
You back?
reading. I'm trying to get back on the Zoom.
You back, King?
I'm back.
You back? Well, no, you're not back on there yet.
Hold on. It's trying to let me back in now. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the thing ain't popping up to let you in the room. So
It's
soon as
saying,
it pop up, I'll let you back in though.
okay, come on. I'm listening
Soon as
on
it
my
pop up.
phone.
Okay, all praises, all
I'm
praises,
trying to get back in here right now.
all praises, all praises.
Okay,
So
come.
another reason why the Most High reiterate these passages to us is cultural environment, right? The Israelites lived among pagan nations with different beliefs and practices. This environment made it easy for them to adopt foreign customs, which conflicted with their covenant with the Most High. Repetition was necessary to keep them focused on their unique identity and relationship with the Most High, right? So our cultural environment is one of the reasons why the Most High reiterate things to us, because we are surrounded, we're in a melting pot. We are in a melting pot with different nationalities, different nations of people. We got different gods, foreign entities that we got to deal with, man. We got to deal with Christianity, Cesare Borgia, white Jesus, white God, Zeus, right? We got to deal with the Hindu gods. We got to deal with Allah, the Ishmaelite God. We got to deal with all these foreign deities. So the Most High have to reiterate these things to us so we don't forget our unique identity, who we are. You know what I'm saying? We just have to learn to cut off and stay away from these other belief systems. Right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 9. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and the 9th verse. When everybody got it, say Khan.
God.
Come on. I can read, Ken.
Salakia. Let's go. Drop that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 12 and verse 29. Deuteronomy 12 and verse 29. Salakia.
When everybody got it, say come.
God. God.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, verse 29. When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwelleth in their land.
Read.
Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. After that, they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise.
Right. So the Most High saying, after he cut off these nations and destroy these nations before our face, right? Don't have pity on these nations and say, man, I wonder how they used to serve their God. What did they used to do to serve their God? How did they used to serve Buddha? How did they used to serve Allah or Baal? Right? How did they serve their God? What rituals they used to do? What customs they used to keep? Right? He tell us not to do that, but we do that anyways because we hard-headed. We so curious about these other cultures and other religions and false philosophies. We neglect our power. We neglect the Most High. And he told us specifically in the law, in the instruction manual, not to do these things. Right? He said, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. Right? Because following them is a snare, it's a trap. Because once they get you to follow them, you at opposition with the Most High. Now they have dominion over you instead of you having dominion over these heathen nations. It say, after that, they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods. Don't inquire about these heathen gods, man. They not real. They not real. They gods are Santa Claus, right? The Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny. That's their gods. They gods don't exist. Zeus don't exist, man. The Most High the one throwing them lightning bolts out the sky, making it rain, right? Making an earthquake, making the volcanoes erupt. That's the Most High. It's not Zeus. It's not Poseidon running the ocean, man. So stop inquiring these heathens how to serve their gods, how to be lawless, right? That's why the Most High have to reiterate these passages to us so we don't forget, right? Let's go to Leviticus 18 in verse 1. Leviticus 18 and verse 1, because of our cultural environment that we in the melting pot. That's why he have to reiterate these passages to us. That's why we go over damn near the same lessons all the time, man. We bring it back full circle, man. Right? Because we must know these things. If not, we're gonna get engulfed into the ways of the heathens, man. We're gonna become pagans. We're gonna become Gentiles again. Niggas fall back in the world every day. Niggas go back in the world every day, B. You know what I'm saying? Leviticus 18 and 1.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God.
Read.
After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I will bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances.
Right. So the Most High is reiterating the same thing. Don't ask these people how do they serve their gods, man. He's talking specifically to the children of Israel. He's not talking to the whole world. He don't give a damn about the whole world. The other nations are like spit to the Most High. They nothing, man. Right? He telling us, his children, hey, don't follow after the ways of the Canaanites, man. I just delivered you from the Egyptians, and I'm finna set you in the land of the Canaanites, right? I'm finna give you their land, but don't do after they ways. Don't follow their ordinance. Don't follow their customs. Don't worship their gods, man. They're gonna tempt you to worship their God, but you not to follow them. Right? He say after the doings of the land of Canaan, meaning their traditions, their customs, their ways, their dietary laws, right? Their civil ways, the way they treat each other. Now, when you read this passage, chapter 18, the Most High had to tell us how to be morally correct with dealing with our people, right? You can't sleep with your mother-in-law, can't sleep with your wife's daughter, you can't sleep with your sisters, with your brother. That's because the Canaanites in that land, that's what they was doing. Right? They were sleeping with their aunties like it was normal. Right? The father sleeping with his son like it's normal. The Most High had to list a plethora of laws to separate us from them, because that's what they was doing, right? He said, don't follow their ordinances. They off, they wicked. Don't do what they doing. Verse 4, read.
Verse 4. And ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God.
Ye shall do my judgments, right? The Most High say, ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances. Don't do what these heathens are doing that's round about you. Don't do it, right? Because I'm going to have to destroy you as if you was one of these heathens. I'm going to have to treat you like you're not even my child, right? He said, I am the Lord your God. Verse 5, read.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord.
So the Most High reiterating again. This ain't the first time in the law he done told us this either. He reiterating this over and over again in the Torah. And then he gonna do it all throughout the prophets, and then he gonna do it all throughout the New Testament. I am the Lord your God. Don't follow after the ways of the Gentile. Go not into the city of the Samaritans, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right? He telling us that it's a separation. I have severed you from other people. Don't follow these other people. This all throughout the scriptures, man. Right? Because the environment that we are in is saturated with a pantheon of gods. Right? Verse number 6. This is why the Most High tell us not to follow the ways of these devils, man. Verse 6.
Verse 6. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord.
Right. So the Most High go into the rest of the passage of chapter 18. You can read it on your own time. He's going into moral laws, right? As well as civil laws. This have to do with how you treat your neighbor, and this have to do with how you treat the Most High. Not sleeping with your nearest to kin, right? Not sleeping with your mother-in-law, not sleeping with your father-in-law. And I done heard stories in Israel before I came into the truth where I know people personally that done did this. Done slept with they son-in-law's wife, or done slept with their son's wife. You know what I'm saying? Wickedness, man. The women done slept with they husband's father. You know what I'm saying? That wickedness. That's the doings. That's the
Don't get
doings.
worse. It's not getting better.
Right? That's the doings after the heathens, man. So we got to be mindful of who we trying to follow. Oh, I'm Kemet. People like to say I'm Kemet. You know what I'm saying? But Kemet, they believe in the same things that the Canaanites believed in. You could sleep with your relatives. That's how their gods got formulated in the first place. Ra and Isis was brothers and sisters, or son and daughter, or something weird, and they slept together and had children. That's who they got. Their gods are based off of incest. So the Most High tell us, hey, follow the ways of these people, man. That's why he have to reiterate his teachings to us, man. Right? So another reason why the Most High have to reiterate
There's Zoom
is
to show
Salakia.
the picture of people, because there's
Salakia.
one man and his wife is sitting next to one, and there's
We can
two
hear
other
you,
men
sister. We can hear you, sister.
and him. That's four. When I
Georgette,
turned there and looked,
Georgette, we can hear you. You got to mute your mic. I muted it for you, but you have to mute your mic, sister. All right, so another reason why the Most High have to reiterate stuff to us is for teaching and instruction, right? For teaching and instruction, right? The Most High used repetition as a teaching tool. So repetition is a teaching tool that the Most High used to ensure that the Israelites internalize his laws and values by repeating, Salakia, by repeatedly hearing the same messages, they were more likely to remember and follow them, right? So reiteration or repetition of a teaching it's a teaching tool, right? That's a tool that the Most High used to get us to have his message stick to our heart, mind, and soul, right? That's a tool that he used. An example of that, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 6.
When everybody got it, please say con.
Con.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them, Salakia, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as a frontlet between thy eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates.
Right. So the Most High teaches us to reiterate the scriptures to our children, to our households, to our families. Hey, teach them in the morning when they wake up. Teach them when you walk us by the way. Teach them when they lie down before they go to bed. All throughout the day, teach them the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Feed them with the word of the Most High. Don't just feed them with bread alone. Don't just feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No, feed them that spiritual food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I'm saying? Keep feeding them. That's the only way they're gonna remember. That's the only way. You have to get into a repetition, into a groove. You got to be that broken record. That's a teaching tool. Being a broken record is an actual teaching tool that the Most High used, and He expects us to use it as well. Right? That's why when you go to Isaiah 28 and 10, He tells you, precept got to be upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. You got to continuously do that all throughout the day, man. Here a little, there a little, here a little, there a little, here a little, there a little. You don't want to get bored with the scriptures. Once you start feeling like you know everything and it's becoming repetitive and you feel like you don't need these same topics over and over again, that's when you're in trouble. That's when you're in trouble. When you feel like you done learned everything, then you don't need to learn this again, or you don't need to peel back another layer of this teaching. That's when you get in trouble. Because these teachings have layers, man. It's layers. You could read the same passages for years and years and years. It's gonna come a time where you get refreshed or replenished or a deeper understanding than what you already had of a certain passage or a certain message. He's gonna enlighten you to something different in that message. It's still gonna be the same message. It's still gonna have the foundation of it, but you're gonna get a deeper understanding. The mystery gonna be revealed to you, right? These dark sayings is gonna be revealed. He's gonna shine light on these dark sayings, right? We can't get bored with the scriptures, man, right? When you go to Joshua 1 and 8, he tell us to meditate on these scriptures day and night. Meditate day and night, day and night. Then I will make your ways prosperous. Then you will have good success, right? So it's deeper than just, you come into this truth, you read the Bible a few times, You bring out a few lessons, right? And now you're saved. No, it's deeper than that. You gotta raise your household up in the fear of the Most High. You gotta raise them up in the fear of the Lord. Teach them the commandments. Teach them the high holy days. You gotta be able to break down the high holy days to your household. If you in this truth and you can't break down the high holy days, well, you need to be focused on breaking down all these high holy days. If somebody come to you and ask you, hey man, what is the Feast of Trumpets about? And you can't explain to them what it's about, hey, you need to focus on learning and studying the high holy days. Or what is the Day of Atonement about? Hey, you got to be able to break it down. If you don't know that, that's the basics. The high holy days, that's the basic, that's the ceremonial laws. You got to be able to break those down. You know what I'm saying? So, teaching and instruction, that's a tool that the Most High used for us to have His message stick in our heart, mind, and soul. Let me go ahead and do it in repetition so they can get it. Repetition is the father of learning, as they say in the world, man. Repetition, that's how you learn. The more repetitive you get, the more you're gonna the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is gonna stick, right? So another reason why he iterates passages and lessons and parables to us is for generational transmission, right? Generational transmission. That's why we teach our children and our children's children, so they can get this information passed down. That's really the inheritance that you pass down. This knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's the real generational wealth, right? Leaving your children in this world after you dead and gone without knowledge of the Most High is the biggest mistake you can do, man. That's the biggest mistake you can make, is not teaching your children the ways of the Most High. Because they're not going to know how to survive in these streets. They're not going to have discernment once you go, right? They're not going to make wise choices in life if you don't leave this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding behind. So that's why he reiterate things to us for that generational transmission, right? So each generation of the Israelites needed to learn the same lessons as their ancestors. Since new generations had not experienced earlier events, such as Exodus, the Most High reiterated his laws and deeds to ensure community of faith and obedience across generations, right? So generational transmission. We gotta transmit this information, this wisdom, this knowledge, this understanding to our grandchildren, to our children, to our grandchildren, so that they can do the same thing. They could pass this information down as well. So when we do regenerate back on the earth, right? When we come back in full circle through our seed line, we coming into a life, into a household that already know the Most High, that already fear the Most High. When we regenerated this time back on the earth, when we came back this time, we came into a household that didn't know the Holy One of Israel as he is written in the scriptures. As the scriptures have said. We didn't know him as the scriptures have said. We knew him based off false ideas, false philosophies, false teachings, false doctrines. That's who we knew the Most High as, right? The one that loves everybody, that's forgiven. You could be wicked and nothing gonna happen to you, still gonna make it into the kingdom. That's the power that we knew growing up. We didn't fear him. We didn't know that we had to fear him. We didn't know we had to keep ceremonial laws, right? So it's important that we pass this information down from generation to generation, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 18. Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 18. When everybody got it, say con.
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 This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 18. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as a frontlets between your eyes.
Didn't we just read this in Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter,
Come.
in the 6th through 9th verse? We just read this same precept, but he reiterating his teachings so we don't forget. This three, I mean, that's five chapters later, he's saying the same thing that he just said 5 chapters ago. The same exact words verbatim, right?
Right.
Read.
And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
Read.
And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thine house and upon thy gates, that
Read.
your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth.
Right. So the Most High is reiterating the same message continually, so we don't forget. Right. So we don't forget. So the influences of the heathen nations that's round about us don't make us forget. Right. So we don't be enticed to serve their gods. Right. The Most High is powerful, man. The Most High is a mastermind. He know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing this for nothing. He's not doing it in vain by reiterating the scriptures. The ones that really love him and fear him is going to take heed and do exactly what he said to the best that we can in the land of our captivity, man. That's what makes us perfect. By being obedient, by repenting when we go off, acknowledging our transgression, understanding the lesson behind the transgression and the repentance. Right? You got to be able to understand and have that remorse in your heart upon the reason why you repenting. Why am I repenting? Why am I saying sorry to the Most High? What did I do to offend? And then you understand how that offense really hurt the Most High and went against his ways. Right? So another one last reason why the Most High reiterate things to us is for covenantal relationship. Right? It's for covenantal relationship. Right? The relationship between the Most High and Israel was based on a covenant that required ongoing commitment and obedience. So our contract, our covenant, it requires ongoing commitment and ongoing obedience. Reiteration of the covenant terms, right? Reiteration of the covenant terms were crucial to maintaining this relationship and ensuring the Israelites understood their responsibility and the blessings or curses associated with their action. Right? So sometimes when you are under a contract with whatever, a music company or a business, a job, when you under a contract, sometimes you have to reread over this contract while you're under this contract, so you don't violate this contract. Right? So that's why the Most High have to reiterate the covenant to us all throughout the scriptures. Let me remind them of this covenant that we made so they don't forget, so they don't transgress this covenant, so they don't piss me off and violate this contract. Let me go over the terms for them again. These are the do's and don'ts, the ins and outs, the ups and downs, right? Repeatedly, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 9.
When everybody got it, say calm.
Con.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
Read that again.
Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
Right. So the Most High keep his covenant. He keep his ways. He keep his covenant. He keep his promises. And he want us to know that. He want us to understand that for 1,000 generations to those that love him and keep his commandments, man. Right? So these promises that the Most High promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that we are going to benefit off of, the Most High going to uphold his end of the contract. Right? He going to honor the contract. He going to honor the covenant the way he said he was going to do it. And he shall not lie, man. Right? But us, on the other hand, we are mere humans, mere mortals. We're gods, but we are in these mortal bodies, these corrupt bodies. Right? And we violate. Sometimes we give in to our flesh. Sometimes we fall into temptation. Sometimes, our sin rule over us. Our transgressions rule over us. Sometimes we're a servant to sin. But the Most High always wants us to be reminded that we are under a covenant, that we do have a chance to repent, that we do have a chance to say sorry and get back on track and get back aligned with the covenant. Right? So he reiterate that to us, especially when H.O.I come on the scene. Hey, repent. Repent. That's part of the law too. Confess your faults. Acknowledge your sin. That's part of the commandments. Keep the law. The laws are not done away with. Keep the law. Right? Confess your sins. Acknowledge your faults. Take accountability for your actions and come back to the covenant. Return back to the contract. Because you done strayed away from the contract. Right? Go to Joshua 23 and 11. Baba Kashaf. The book of Joshua, chapter 23 and verse 11. And another thing about the book of Deuteronomy, I know I went to Deuteronomy quite a few times this class. H.O.I went to Deuteronomy to cut Satan when he was tempted in the wilderness. He stayed in Deuteronomy because Deuteronomy is a powerful book, man. You could cut your adversaries up with Deuteronomy because the Most High did a lot of reiteration in Deuteronomy, right? But let's go to Joshua 23 and 11.
When everybody got to say calm.
Con.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 23, verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else, if ye do anywise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you, know for surety that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you.
Right. You hear that? Now, in verse 11, it say, take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves. That's the same thing he said in Deuteronomy 4 and 9. Take heed to yourself, man. Take heed to yourself. spend a little more time focused on yourself. Your household might not get this, right? Your family, your rib, your husband, your cousin, your best friend, they might not get this. So don't be spending all your time taking heed to them, worried about them. Take heed, therefore, unto yourself that ye love the Lord your God, Yahweh thy power. Make sure you work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, because you're going to be one-on-one with the Most High. Everybody that you know right now, that you see around you right now, they not going to be with you when you facing the Most High. So you got to take heed to yourself, right? It says in verse 12, else if ye do in any wise go back, right? Meaning you turn your back on the covenant, right? And cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them and go in unto them, and they to you. See, that's what our people was doing. When the Most High promised us the land of Canaan, the promised land, we were supposed to run all them out of the promised land and occupy it ourselves. But we chose to leave a few. We chose to spare a few. And the Most High was like, okay, since you spared these niggas, right, I'm going to keep them round about you just in case you go off. I'm going to let these people have dominion over you. And what Israel did, we went off. We start making marriages, going against the commandments. He told us specifically not to marry into the Hamitic nations or into the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hittites. He lists them, the Jebusites. He told us not to marry these people by law. Don't marry these specific heathens. Don't make marriages with them. What we did, we made marriages with them. And a marriage is a what? It's a covenant. It's a contract. Right? We already under a covenant with the Most High, but yet here we go making a covenant with the heathens. Right? That's what we did. Right? And that's what they doing now. Our people are making marriages or covenants with these heathens, man. And they not going down the aisle, going to the church, putting a ring on the finger, saying I do. Right? They are submitting themselves to the ways of the heathens. That's making a marriage with them. Right? Hold that and let's go to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 38. The book of St. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 38.
When everybody got it, they, you said 24 and 28?
38.
38,
Start at
36?
36, Con.
Okay. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of man be.
The coming of the Son of Man be. Right?
Salakia. Then also shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Salakia.
Right. So in the days of Noah, it's just like when the Most High sent Yahweh to return on the earth. It's as in the days of Noah. Because in the days of Noah, people was doing the same thing that they was doing in Joshua 23 and 11. They was making marriages, with the heathens, man. They was making contracts and covenants with the heathens. That's what Noah had to deal with. He had to deal with the chosen seed intermingling with the children of men, right? With the heathens. They was known as the children of men. It say for in verse 38, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking. What was they eating? They wasn't eating the bread of life, right? They wasn't living off bread alone. They was eating up all these doctrines and philosophies that went against the Most High. What was they drinking? The Most High say, my people are drunk, but not with strong drink, right? My people stagger, but not at the wine. They were staggering off of these philosophies of the world, right? They drunk off of the media. They drunk off the false teachings and the false religions of Babylon. It say they were marrying and giving in marriage, right? Our people were marrying these heathens, and they was given into marriage by their parents to these heathens. They was given into these contracts and these covenants with these heathens, as in the days of Noah, right? Until the day Noah entered into the ark. It was over with. When Noah went into the ark and closed the door, the Most High let it rain. They weren't eating and drinking and marrying and giving into marriage no more. They was destroyed. And Yahweh shall say, and they knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So when Yahweh shall return, they're going to be doing the same exact thing that they was doing in Joshua 23 and 11, right? They was making marriages with the other nations. That's going to be the same thing, or that was the same thing that they was doing in Genesis, man, the 6th chapter, right? Let's go to Genesis, the 6th chapter, and start at the 1st verse, Baba Kashah. Because these stories all align, they all connect, right? Our people was doing the same things back in the ancient world. That's why he say there is no new thing under the sun. The same desires, the same temptations, the same biblical warfare or spiritual warfare that they was going through in the ancient world is the same spiritual warfare we going through now. We battling the same demons, man.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 6, from the top. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they were fair. And they took them wives of all which were they chose, all which they chose. And the
Right.
Lord said,
So it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born unto them. Right? And this is talking about heathen men. They had daughters. The heathens had daughters, right? Verse 2, that the sons of God, that's the chosen seed, the sons of God, the prototype Israelites, right? The sons of God saw the daughters of men, the daughters of the heathens, that they were fair, that they was beautiful. Just like now, our men consider the heathen women as the most beautiful women on the earth. When the truth of the matter is, the Israelite women are the most beautiful women on the earth, right? The Israelite man quick to try to run and go get a heathen wife. Real quick. I need something exotic. That's what they say, exotic. These are not, they not exotic, man. We the ones that are exotic. Our women are exotic, right? But it says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, the daughters of the heathen, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. This was a problem in the time of Noah, man. In the days of Noah, this was a problem. Verse number 3, read.
verse number 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
Right. So the Most High knew that his spirit wasn't going to always strive with man, because why? Because our men are having children with these heathen women, and these heathen women going to teach your child to go against the Most High. The heathen women going to teach the child to celebrate pagan tradition. The heathen women going to teach the child to not obey the dietary law. The heathen women going to teach the children to not fear God, right? They're going to fill the children up with all kind of false philosophies and false doctrines of devils. That's what the women going to do to the children. So the Most High said, hey, man, my spirit ain't going to always strive with man. Why? Because the man is flesh. He's thinking fleshly, right? He not thinking spiritually and dealing with the covenant as he should. He's thinking carnally and making marriages with these heathens, making contracts and covenants with these idols, right? Committing spiritual fornication against the Most High. Verse number 4, read.
Verse number 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, and which were of old, men of renown.
Right. So there were giants in the earth in those days. Right. For a Christian, that's a stumbling block. Nephilims, right? There was Nephilims in the earth in those days. That just means a mighty man, right? It was mighty men in the earth in those days, like your Floyd Mayweathers, your 50 Cents, your Tyler Perrys, right? Your Will Smiths. They would be considered giants of today's time, right? It's a metaphor. There was giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the Most High came in unto the daughters of men. So when the sons of the Most High had children with these heathen women, their child was still a so-called Israelite, right? This before Israelites came into play. These are the prototype Israelites, right? But when the sons of God had children with these heathen women, the children was still Israel or the chosen seed. They began to be mighty as well. They was mighty, right? The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown, right? They were still Israel, but they still took on. They wasn't, Israel in the sense of what we are today. These are the prototypes, but they still had heathenistic ways because they made covenants with these heathens. The chosen start keeping pagan traditions, start following false doctrines, start being like those that they was around, start being like the moms, right? Verse number 5.
Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Right, so the Most High saw the wickedness of the world, man. The Most High saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The same way it is now. People got wicked thoughts, wicked hearts, wicked imaginations, and they act upon those things. A world full of violence, death, and destruction because of the imaginations of our hearts, right? Verse number 7 or verse number 6, read.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and fowls of the air, for it repenteth me. Shalakia, for it repenteth me that I have made them.
Right, so it repented the Most High Yahweh that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. You know, he had remorse. He was remorseful for making things the way he did. All right. And he said, I would destroy man whom I've created from the face of the earth. I'm finna destroy my creation. Right? The potter can do whatever he wants to with the clay, man. Both man and beast, and the creepy thing and the fowls of the air, and it repented me that I have made them. Right? Because everything was out of order. Right? Everything became lawless. Men gave into their desires and had children with the daughters of men, right? They was making marriages and giving into marriage in the days of Noah, right? Verse 8.
Verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
Right, but
These
Noah
are the
found Salaki, but Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh, right? Noah found grace because Noah was a law-abiding citizen. He kept the commandments. Before the commandments was written, they was passed down orally. And Moses, Salaki, and Noah kept those commandments. Noah became the new Adam, the father of many nations, right? After the flood. But just going to show you that our people was making marriages and giving into marriages, they was doing the same thing after we left out of Egypt and came into the promised land. Go back to Joshua chapter 23 and verse 11.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 23, verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else if
Read.
ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that are remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you, know for a surety that the Lord your God will no more drive them out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off the good land which the Lord your God have given you.
Right.
And be,
So
okay.
if we decide to go and make marriages with them and go in unto them, meaning make a covenant, forsake the covenant of the Most High and start making covenants with these heathens, hey, these heathens gonna be a snare to us. They're gonna be a thorn in our side, man, a thorn in our eyes, scourges in our side, right? And that's what happened in the days of Noah. That's what happened right here in the book of Joshua in the Promised Land, right? And that's what's happening right now in today's current time. That's what happened when Yahweh was on the scene, right? When he was in the Roman captivity, our people was making covenants with the heathens, marriages with the heathens, forsaking the covenant of the Most High, man. All right, so we got to be mindful. That's why the Most High reiterate these messages, these stories to us, man, because everything come back full circle. Everything come back full circle, man. We can't get bored with the teachings. We can't get bored with the scriptures. We got to continue to connect the dots. Seek out the wisdom of the ancients, man. We got to stay occupied in prophecy, right? You got to come up with new learning mechanisms to teach your household. Videos, card games, Bible apps, anything you can get your hands on to stay in the spirit, man. Have movie nights. We got to do another movie night soon with the households, man, to educate them. Documentary. You gotta do whatever you gotta do to reiterate this message to your household, to your people, to yourself. Right? The Most High, He sent Yahweh Shai say, remember thy first works, man. Remember your first works, what brought you into the truth, how passionate you was to learn, how humble you was. You know what I'm saying? How you bowed your ear down to the teachers, to the prophet, to the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying? To get this information, you got to keep that. You got to keep that fire burning. You got to keep that oil in your lamp, man. But that's why the Most High reiterate these passages, and we must do the same. Be a broken record. That's a learning tool. That's a teaching tool. Be a broken record. Continue to be that broken record, man. And with that, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. It's H.O.I. Las Vegas. It's H.O.I. to the chariots fly. Shalom, Yasharala.